Welcome to Genius Talk Podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Willie Blake with us. Willie, thank you so much for joining and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm excited. Let's have a good conversation.
Okay, brother. So, for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, I'm Willie Blake. I'm just a cool dude, a girl dad, an author, a professional speaker, and just advocate for dyslexics. I run a coaching business specifically for entrepreneurs and professional dyslexics who are just tired of second guessing and wanting to build that confidence, get more clear, and make more money on the side.
Okay, so how did dyslexia show up in your life while growing up?
Yeah. So first grade is when I was diagnosed with it, where people were like, well, Willie kind of reads a little bit slower than everybody else. And when he speaks, he stutters and really has to sound out those words that were longer than 6 letters. So there's some tests done. And lo and behold, I had this thing called dyslexia. And the simplest answer to like what dyslexia is, you have difficulty time with reading. It's the way that reading, writing, or speaking, just the way that you see things, the way that you interpret it in your head, or the way that you communicate it outwards. Had a challenge with it. So growing up, it was just like the side thing. It didn't affect me until all of a sudden my friends started to talk about Willie going to this special class that at the last hour of every Friday, he went with some other kids. And it's like, oh, well, let's not hang out with the weird kid. And then you hit middle school and, everyone in middle school is just trying to find themselves out. So I was bullied a little bit. And then in high school, even when I had friends that were close, still kind of sucked because they would go to the honors classes and get the college credits. And I'd have to go 3 doors down to the regular English class where nobody wanted to be there. Nobody wanted to work. And I'm like, man, I feel so capable, but yet so behind. Why is it that this whole system that was made was built not for me? That I guess I'm just going to be this broken kid, always behind, below average, working in either retail or fast food my entire life. And just like, those thoughts creep up. So that's kind of how it was growing up with dyslexia.
Okay, so when did you realize that dyslexia could be your strength, not a weakness?
I wish it was sooner. I so wish it was sooner. It was about halfway through college when I went, and it was about a decade ago. I came across this. I think I started with like a Grant Cardone video, and it was like his 5 ways to be a millionaire. Still one of my favorite 30-minute videos on YouTube. But then it led me to this other dude named Evan Carmichael, and he did these top 10 series. So it'd be like the top 10 rules of success for Tony Robbins, for Grant Cardone, for Oprah Winfrey, and just like these ultra successful people who are out there doing stuff. So I started watching them and started learning about these rules of success that were the most common. And then I came across this statistic that said 95% of CEOs read 50 or more books a year. And of course, as you're listening to speakers and CEOs and entrepreneurs, you're like, cool, being that would be great. So literally the connection in my mind was to be a CEO, you had to read 50 books. So I'm like, okay, ain't no way that's happening. Because you got a dyslexic who maybe on average read a book a year, but I started with 12. A book a month didn't seem as impossible as 50. Went to my bookshelf, grabbed a little purple book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, opened it to chapter 1 and started reading. And that one book turned into a few, was turned into the 12, and then on to 40 and 50 plus books a year now. And that's kind of where that transformation of, well, I grew up this certain way, but then these people are saying differently. So it's not all black and white. It's this gray area. What about dyslexia? And I learned that there's the disadvantages of struggling with reading, writing, and speaking. But there's these advantages of creativity, problem solving, thinking outside the box, being able to communicate with more sympathy and empathy just because we've had to go through so much. And at that point, you just get to decide whether you stick with what you knew from before or go with what you learn now. And I chose to think of it as an advantage.
Okay, so what is one big myth about dyslexia that you want to break today?
It's not just about reading and writing. It's just a different way in processing information. A lot of people I hear when I say, yeah, I'm dyslexic and I help them out. They're like, cool. So do you help them like not read letters backwards? I said, no, that's part of it. That's part of what dyslexia is seeing the B's and D's flipped. But there's so much more, and there's a whole spectrum. And so I just like going with dyslexia, and that it's just the abilities to, there's just some really cool advantages. And to break that myth of dyslexia doesn't hold you behind, it actually is just there. It's like if you're trying to lose weight, you're not fat, you just have fat. You're not lazy, you just do lazy things. And so you don't have dyslexia, it's just, or you're not dyslexia, you just have dyslexia. I'm putting it that way. It's like, okay, now I can learn different tools and tricks and strategies just to be able to figure out what works for me. And so that's the myth I'd break, is that it's not something to hold you behind. It's just something different.
Okay, so what inspired you to write your book?
Yeah, just the two things I wanted ever since I was a kid. First one was to be a teacher. But I didn't want to go the traditional teaching route. I just loved talking and giving advice. And I was just really good at coming up with solutions that other people just couldn't see. The second thing, though, was I always wanted to be an author. I wanted to have my book, even though reading was hard, right? I always wanted my name to be on the cover of a book. And so that's just something I wanted as a kid. So I started just writing. Took me a while, but started writing a paragraph, and that paragraph turned into a chapter, then a couple chapters, and I'm now co-authored in several books, and then my book is coming to completion as I'm doing final edits and getting it out there. So it's just like, it all started with that little bit of my childhood dream wanting to be an author, to now I'm co-author with a bunch of amazing people, and I'm about to have my own book out. So that's where it started.
Okay, so who do you help and how do you help them?
I help dyslexic entrepreneurs and professionals. Bottom line, dyslexic adults who have jobs are out there doing stuff. Because I have found that kids and teenagers, they have resources. They have so many resources to deal with anything neurodivergent, from dyslexia to ADHD to autism to OCD, whatever it is. Adults, though, once you hit that magic age of 18, all of a sudden, if you go to college, there might be like one or two departments specific for it. But other than that, good luck in getting in with a corporation or starting with somewhere that has some type of plan, because they just don't have it. They just don't have those resources. And as I went from college to then working at property management, to retail, to landscaping, to working and sales and apprenticeships and all these different jobs, I found that I wish I would have had some type of resource, whether it was an educational video or someone to just help coach me through this different way of thinking. So I decided to be that. I decided to be that for other people. So I help them get clear, because we overthink, we overanalyze, analysis paralysis. We get so stuck because there's so much that goes on that we don't even take the first step. So we get clear on like, what do you actually want? What is it you want? Diagnosis or not, I'm not huge into being diagnosed. I think diagnosis has its reasons, but if you want something, let's figure out what works for you and go from there. So I help people get clear, help them build more confidence. And that simply happens from the thoughts that they have and the actions that they need to take, just shortening that gap together so they're actually taking the action. And then that leads to them getting the momentum, the results. And if their goal is to make more money with it, then that's the way in which it goes.
Okay, so is there any philosophy behind your work?
Yeah. One of the things is the GPS method. And it breaks down to the simplest thing. First thing is got to get clear. That's the G. The P is to plan. And then the S is to start now. That simple. So the G, get clear. What is it that you want? You pull up the Apple Maps or Google Maps on your phone, right? And it asks you, where the heck do you want to go? It's like, I want to go to Walmart. Cool. You also got to know the second thing, which is, where are you at right now? Because if you know where you want to go, but you don't know where you're at, you can take as much effort as you want and grind and hustle as much as you can. You're not going to get there. Very slight chance. So when you're real with yourself and say, well, where am I at? If my goal is a physical goal, do I have a six pack? Do I have energy to carry me throughout the day? Or am I sitting here with a keg trying to lose a little bit of weight? If it's a business goal and building your coaching business, do you have clients? Do you have revenue coming in? Or are you just struggling to get one person to get on board with your program? You figure out where you're at, know where you want to go, and you know the direction you need to head. Then you plan. And the plan is simple. You take that goal that you want and reverse engineer it backwards. If your goal is to start a podcast, well, what do? You grab a phone and you start recording, and then you post videos. And after you post videos, then you get a little bit better. And so as you set that goal, you then go backwards in hitting those milestones that you need to hit. And then it comes to, well, what do I need to do in the next 30 days? And what do I need to do today? What is literally the next natural step that I need to do today? Once you have that, take your metaphorical car out of gear, out of park, and then start to drive. So what do you want? Create a plan for it, and then start. And that's the method to the madness.
Yep. GPS. Okay, brother, can you share any of your client success story?
Yeah. So one that comes right to mind is not because business goals are usually like the ones that they go for, but this one specific, just because it works really well, is one of my clients wanted a girlfriend. It's not really a business goal, right?
Yeah.
Not really like I want 10 clients or I want 100 leads coming in each week. It's like, I want a girlfriend. I said, okay, cool. You know what you want. Where you're at right now, I don't got a girlfriend. I'm a single dude. I'm like, cool. Let's reverse engineer it back. So you want a girlfriend. How do you get a girlfriend? Well, you first got to be dating a girl. Okay. How do you date a girl? Well, you got to be friends with a girl. It's like, cool. How do you be friends with a girl? Well, most likely you have a friend group that has this female in it who you are attracted to that you want to eventually be your girlfriend. I'm like, sweet. There's a reason why it's so simple, because it is. How do you get that? How do you get that friend group with a girl? That breaks off into two ways. First one being, well, you need to go to places where your friend group is. It's like, cool. So we'll put a pin in that. And then the other side is, well, you got to be able to talk to your friends and communicate. Because if you don't, well, how the heck are you going to go on dates and get a girlfriend? How do you work on that communication? That breaks off into two. One being, you got to have a life. You just got to be interested in something.
Yeah.
Because I know, at least from my wife and the women that are in my family, they are not attracted to people who are just lazy bums not doing anything. They like ones who are just having a life and even just have an interest. So be somebody, be you. We'll put a pin in that. The other one, the literal skill of communication, of asking questions, of being able to tell stories, being able to listen, all of that in there. So from that breakdown with him, we're able to go from I want a girlfriend to now these three things of I need to be at places, I need to work and have a life, and then the little skill of communication, to which we're able to attach the action items of schedule networking events to go to on Eventbrite and have a life and work on that skill of communicating, which is when strangers walk by, say hello. When you're talking with people who are coworkers, have an in-depth conversation rather than just like, how are you doing? Good. And then you walk past the other way. And lo and behold, he now has a girlfriend, just by the simplicity of, we break it down to the simplest of steps of being somewhere and talking with people that then led to him having his girlfriend. So that's just one of the cool success stories that we have.
Okay, so which personality trait would you attribute majority of your success to?
What personality trait? That is a great question. The personality trait I would put most dyslexics to is the ability to sympathize and empathize with people, because they have gone through so much. And whether they know it or not, whenever you go through something hard, you're not the one on the other side of the social media camera who's sending the comment saying, you're not this, you can't achieve your dream, sending those negative comments. You're the one saying, man, I'm sorry what's happened. Keep on going. You can do it. I've never found anybody who sends a negative comment that's been more successful than me. Same with everyone else. And so personality trait of just being able to be kind and not nice, not nice. I think nice goes into more like a people pleasing of I'm a yes man. I'm going to say certain things this way, but actually kind. They say, man, you have gone through some hard things, but keep going. The nice person would just say, I feel you. You're doing great. You take as much time as you need. And even though that's true and you can take your time, keep going. Keep doing those small little things to take care of yourself. So that ability to be kind is a personality trait a lot of dyslexics have.
Okay, so with all the success you have, what's your current challenge now
Current challenge now as like the dyslexics I work with or in general?
in general?
Yeah. Biggest thing is seeing themselves as that they label themselves as different, but different in which they can't do it. They set dyslexia as this limiter of I can't do it because of my dyslexia. I can't read, I can't write, and because of that, I need extra help. And the extra help makes me feel less worth. And so a lot of people struggle with that. They're thinking that their worth is tied to the ability in which they're able to do 2 out of the tens of thousands of things that are on this planet. But it's just how society and the education system is built, is that we're here to help you because you are behind in the education system. When you get out into the real world, it's like, why do the bosses, the unsubconscious, there you go, dyslexia right there. The unconscious mind of a boss or a leader might be for someone who's dyslexic saying to them, why do I have to put in extra effort to accommodate for you when I hired you to do a job that you should already be good at? And so us as dyslexic workers, we're out there thinking that is what our bosses and leaders are thinking. So of course, we're just like, our actions are going to be different based off of what we think that other people think about us. And so it's a real breakthrough that needs to happen. But that would be the biggest challenge people face, is that imposter syndrome, that putting up a mask and just always feeling behind.
Okay, so looking back when you started, what's one lesson you will tell yourself if you could restart again?
Just start. Just start. And even more clearly, pick one. Pick one thing. Just a single thing to do each day. And that is enough. I get where like Tony Robbins and other gurus come from, where they're just like, massive action. You got this. Go and do it. That's never been my experience. My experience of things that have stuck with me in my life are doing the small things each day. It's doing the one push-up, even if it is just one. It is writing the one paragraph, even if it is just one. And it's reading that one chapter. And so it's just pick one single thing. Young Willie, pick one single thing that you can do each day to go after that dream, that vision, that finish line, the Northern Star, whatever wording you want to use, right? Just pick one thing you do each day for a small amount of time, and that is going to get you the most results out of everything else.
Okay, so for our listeners who want to know more about you or want to connect with you, where can they go?
Yeah, best place, go to my website, coachwillieblake.com. And there you'll be able to connect with me through my social medias, be able to find me on the different podcasts that I do, so you can listen to more awesome stuff like we have here today. And then if you yourself are a dyslexic professional entrepreneur, there'll be a place there that we can work one-on-one, because I just want to help you.
Okay, so is there anything else that you would like to share?
Last thing I would say is that I know your audience is a lot of coaches and marketers, people who are out there already doing it. Remember that you are capable, and I'm speaking to you as a listener, you are so capable and you have so many skill sets that you are impressive to a lot of people. Don't forget to do the fundamentals, because we put up this ego. I am now at this certain level of success that I have to now impress the people who are above me, and in a weird way put ourselves on a pedestal for the people who are below us. Because especially if we're coaches, we want to make sure we have the answers to our clients. And if we're individuals who are in the financial industry and trying to get $1 million portfolio clients, well, we want to make sure that we are impressive to them. Don't forget to do the things messy. Don't forget the fundamentals. just start and continue to do it. Because here's the real truth about it that I'd love to leave with everybody is that people are more impressed by the actions you're taking, even if you're failing, at least you're failing forward, more than what you say. Because the ones who matter the most, they know that action is more impressive. And the ones who don't, they're the ones who are impressive by the words that you say. So just do things messy, do things unpolished, stay structured. Structured's good, but do things a little bit more unpolished and pick one thing each day you can do.
Thank you, Willie. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom. It was really great having you here.
Pleasure's mine, Atul. Thank you for the opportunity.